Hey, welcome back to Yet Here I Am. I'm Selena, and honestly, I'm really glad you're here today. I want to get right into this because it's something we've all seen, whether we realize it or not. It's something that shows up on our screens, in our feeds, in the news, and we often scroll past it without always thinking twice. I'm talking about what we call a mental health breakdown playing out in real time. You know the ones. It's a clip, a headline, a moment that people consume like entertainment. But today, I want to slow that down. I want to talk about the actual human being behind that moment. Because here's the thing. What we label as a breakdown is almost never just a single moment. It's usually the result of 100 silent moments that no one else ever saw. Does that make sense? We see someone yelling, crying, or acting out. Maybe they're saying things that don't quite make sense. Maybe their behavior feels shocking or even a bit uncomfortable for us to watch. And the immediate reaction? It's judgment. People say things like, they're crazy, or they've totally lost it. They say they need help. But wait, they say it like a label, not a lifeline. It's said without empathy. And what gets lost in that instant reaction is the reality that no one just wakes up one day and decides to fall apart in front of the entire world. It doesn't work like that. Breakdowns are built slowly. They are built quietly, over time, layer by layer. It's stress on top of stress, emotion on top of emotion, until there's just no more room left to hold it all. I want you to imagine something for a second. Imagine living inside a mind that never quiets down, where your thoughts are constant, loud, and overlapping. Like a radio that won't turn off. Imagine your emotions don't come in gentle waves, but hit like a storm you can't predict. Now, imagine trying to function in your daily life like that. Trying to go to work or maintain relationships. You're trying to keep up appearances and act like everything is fine when, inside, you feel like you're constantly on the edge of something you can't even explain. It's exhausting, right? And maybe for a while, you actually hold it together. Maybe you become really good at hiding it. You become an expert at smiling through the pain and convincing everyone that you're okay. But inside, it just keeps building. The pressure is mounting every single day. And then, something small happens. Something that, on any other day, might not even matter at all. Maybe it's a small comment, a minor setback, or just one extra moment of pressure. It's that one more thing added to everything you're already carrying. And suddenly, the dam breaks. Your mind and body just can't hold it anymore. It spills over. Not in a controlled, quiet way, but in a way that feels intense, overwhelming, and impossible to contain. It's a flood. And here is the heartbreaking part. That moment, that breaking point, is the only part the world ever sees. They don't see the months of holding on. They only see the letting go. Just like that, you're no longer a person. You're a headline. You're a viral video. You're a topic of conversation for people who don't know you and don't know your story. They don't know what you've been carrying, and yet they feel comfortable defining your entire existence by your lowest, most vulnerable moment. It's incredibly unfair, isn't it? We've seen it happen over and over again, with celebrities, with people on the street caught on camera during a crisis. The reactions is almost always the same. Quick judgment and quick assumptions. There are so many quick conclusions, but honestly, there is very little curiosity. There's very little compassion. We don't ask the question that actually matters. What happened before this? Because breakdowns don't exist in isolation. They are connected to something much deeper. Sometimes it's depression that has been quietly draining someone's soul for months or even years. Sometimes it's anxiety that never shuts off, keeping someone in a state of fight or flight for weeks. Sometimes it's trauma that was never processed, finally screaming to be heard. It could be mania, where emotions and energy escalate beyond any control, or even psychosis, where reality itself starts to shift in ways that are terrifying and completely disorienting. The person experiencing it may not even fully understand what's happening to them in that moment. They are lost in the fog. And instead of recognizing that complexity, what do? We respond with exposure. The moment is captured, shared, and replayed. It's analyzed and turned into content. The person at the center becomes something to watch instead of someone to understand, Social media and the news cycle have created this space where our most vulnerable moments can be broadcast instantly. And once it's out there, it doesn't just go away. It lingers. It gets turned into memes. It's discussed by strangers. And while the world moves on to the next story tomorrow, that person is left to pick up the pieces of what just happened. They have to pick up the pieces internally, but also publicly. And that's something we don't talk about enough. What happens after the breakdown? What happens when the cameras are gone? When the attention fades, the person is left alone with themselves again. And often there's shame. Deep, heavy, suffocating shame. There's embarrassment, confusion, and a lot of regret. There's fear, too. Fear of being seen differently by everyone they know. Fear of not being understood. Fear of it happening again. It's a heavy burden to carry while trying to heal. Because a breakdown doesn't just disappear once the episode is over. It leaves an impact. It leaves a mark emotionally, mentally, and sometimes even physically. Recovery is not instant. It's a slow and often uncomfortable process. It's about trying to understand what happened and making sense of emotions that felt totally out of control. It's about rebuilding safety within yourself. And yet, despite all that hard work, people are still reduced to that one moment, that one clip, that one version of themselves that the world saw. We have to do better than that. It is so important to remember that no one is defined by their worst day. No one is just their breakdown. That moment may be part of their story, but I promise you, it is not the whole story. If you've ever experienced something like that, even if it wasn't public, even if no one else saw it, you know how intense it can feel. That sense of losing the steering wheel of your own mind, that overwhelming flood of emotion, that moment where it feels like your mind just can't contain the pressure anymore. And afterward, the vulnerability of having to face it all. Maybe you judged yourself the way the world judges people. Maybe you called yourself weak. Maybe you felt so much shame you wished you could just disappear or undo it all. But the truth is, those moments don't come from weakness. They come from being overwhelmed beyond your capacity to cope in that specific moment. That's not a character flaw. It's a human limit. What if we shifted the way we respond? What if, instead of labeling someone as unstable or dramatic, we paused? What if we asked what they might be going through? What had they been holding in? What support did they lack? What pain led them to that point? Empathy doesn't excuse harmful behavior, but it does create space for understanding. And understanding is what allows real conversations about mental health to happen. Not surface-level stuff, not performative concern, but real, honest, human conversations about what it means to struggle. Now, if you're listening to this and you feel like you're getting close to that edge, if things are starting to feel too heavy, I want you to hear me very clearly. You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait until you break to deserve help. You don't have to reach a crisis point for your feelings to be valid. You don't have to prove how much you're struggling for it to matter. There is so much strength in recognizing when you need support. There is strength in speaking up before things overflow. But even if you haven't done that yet, please don't be hard on yourself. Even if you've been holding everything in, even if you feel like you're barely keeping it together, that doesn't mean you've failed. It means you've been trying to survive the best way you know how. And if you've already had that moment, if you've already experienced a breakdown, whether it was private or public, you are still here, and that matters more than that moment ever will. Being here means there is still room for healing. There is still room for growth. There is still room to rebuild a life that feels safe and manageable. You are not your breaking point. Before I end this episode, I want to leave you with something simple but important. The next time you see a headline about someone losing it, I want you to pause, just for a second. The next time you see a video of someone in crisis, pause before you judge. Pause before you scroll past it like it's just another piece of content. Remind yourself of the human life behind it. There is a full, complex story that didn't make the headline. There is a history that led up to that point, and there is a future that still exists beyond it. They deserve that much from us. We all have moments where we are pushed to our limits, moments where we don't show up as our best selves, moments where we struggle more than we know how to handle. It's part of being human, and those moments deserve compassion, Not just for others, but for yourself too. If you're struggling, be gentle with yourself today. You're carrying more than people see. Thank you for being here with me on Yet Here I Am. Thank you for sitting with something a little heavier and a little more real today. I hope this helps you see things a bit differently. Take care of your mind, take care of your heart, and please, reach out to someone if the weight is getting too heavy. You don't have to do this alone. I'll talk to you next time. Seriously, think about it. If we all gave each other just 10% more grace, how different would the world feel? How much safer would we all feel to be honest about our struggles? It starts with us. It starts with how we look at that screen. It starts with how we look in the mirror. You're doing the best you can with what you have, and that is enough. I'm Selena, and this has been a really important conversation for me. I hope it was for you too. Until next time, stay kind to yourself. You're worth the effort of recovery and the peace of mind. And remember, the headline is never the whole story. Your story is still being written, and the best chapters are often the ones where we learn how to rise after the fall. See you soon. Actually, one more thing before I go. If you know someone who is struggling, just send them a text. No pressure, no advice, just, I'm thinking of you. It could be the lifeline they need today. Okay, now I'm really going. Take a deep breath. You've got this. And if you don't feel like you've got it right now, that's okay too. We'll find the way together. Goodbye for now.